Do you know what the most difficult platinum of 2021 was? I bet you don't. Stay tuned and you'll find out just which one it is. 2021 has concluded, and it was a very interesting year for trophy hunters. There has been a massive trend towards games that are easier and shorter to platinum. There are so many people that have thousands of platinums because of this. But in this video, I want to explore the hardest games to platinum, focusing on the best of them as determined by you, the community. You guys voted for your hardest platinums of the year, and I was able to put a list together based on your submissions. This list features the best games with the toughest platinums, and it will exclude, unfortunately, smaller games such as Disco Elysium or maybe Jurassic World Evolution 2, both of which have the right to be considered. I've also excluded PS5 games that came out in 2021, but were already released on PS4 the previous year or two. Crash Bandicoot 4 is the perfect example. The PS4 version was already on the list last year, so it's excluded this year. So let's go ahead and rock this thing. Starting off with number 10, the 10th most difficult platinum based on your feedback was Call of Duty Vanguard. Now, I was a little surprised by this because I personally believe that this is one of the easiest Call of Duty games to platinum because Vanguard features a very mediocre zombies mode with trophies that are very easy to get even as a solo player since there's no Easter egg. The difficult trophies were in the campaign. On veteran difficulty, the dive bomb section in the Battle of Midway is probably more frustrating than it needed to be. Speaking of frustrating, the behind you trophy is unnecessarily obnoxious. You'll have to do basically 60 melee takedowns in a department store. Even if you played on recruit difficulty, which you should, it can be very frustrating to go for a takedown only for it to result in a normal melee attack and having to restart the checkpoint. Next up is number 9, Hades. This former Game of the Year came to PlayStation this past August. It's a roguelite dungeon crawler with a beautiful art style supported by a robust combat system that anchors the incredible gameplay. It's an absolutely awesome experience, but it can prove quite challenging early on. But for anyone who keeps pushing forward and unlocking new items, you'll soon discover multiple character builds that you can tear through the colorful environments. There are a ton of build guides out there that will help you conquer the world. The biggest challenge to your platinum is learning the system and mechanics. Once you do, the difficulty will dramatically start to drop. The 8th most difficult platinum on this list is Hell Let Loose. It got enough votes primarily because it was free on PlayStation Plus in October. It's a game that a lot of people like, and also one that many people didn't. Few people have actually managed to complete this platinum. That is because the game is exceptionally grindy. Just looking at the trophy list, it can look to be quite easy, but you'll need to win 25 warfare battles and 25 offensive battles. This is quite the grind because each match can take 60 to 90 minutes. That's a massive time sink even if you win every single time. The trophy requirements are, in my opinion, quite inflated. The requirements should probably be half what they are currently. Next up at number 7 is one of the most popular games of the year, and that's Resident Evil Village. It's a pretty typical Resident Evil style trophy list, and it's going to require multiple playthroughs, I think 3, lots of collectibles and all the upgrades. And the biggest trophy headache though is going to be in mercenary mode. You'll need to get at least an S rank on all the stages. Now the mode is fun, but it'll take carefully planned strategies and loadouts to achieve the required score. This platinum can be tough, but it's a challenge that I absolutely loved. It's balanced quite well for fun and challenge, and that's something very few games can achieve. We are diving back into another PS Plus offering for our 6th most difficult platinum with Oddworld Soulstorm. As a fan of the previous Oddworld games, I was excited to attempt the platinum, but this game absolutely beat me. It crushed me. It kind of gave me a Crash Bandicoot vibe in terms of its difficulty, maybe not quite that level. There are tons of trophies that people will struggle to get. You'll need at least 3 full playthroughs to platinum, with some trophies requiring you to save 1,000 Mudokons or killing less than 100 enemies. There are so many chapter select replays that you're going to have to do to achieve all the platinum badges, not to be confused with the platinum trophy. Now the game is hard, so doing these tasks can be quite challenging, but perhaps not as challenging as completing every level without dying. Number 5 may spark some controversy, and it's Returnal. Many of you will have assumed this was the hardest game, others will not. Your perception of the difficulty will depend on when you played the game. At launch, this was easily a 75-hour platinum on average. It took me well over 100 in fact. A few months ago, the game did receive a patch that will now make it feasible to do it in maybe 30 hours. The difference was the placement of the RNG collectibles. Now they made the extremely rare RNG collectibles quite a bit less random. The gameplay difficulty itself hasn't changed since launch and remains challenging, especially for the first 10 hours. After you start unlocking more weapons and their various upgrades, the game will gradually become easier for you. Number 4 is Aliens Fireteam Elite. This game will take every bit of 100 hours or more across your 4 playthroughs that you're going to need. These types of games will benefit from you having a group of players who are willing to do the entire playthrough together, but between the various bugs and grindy trophies, good luck keeping the team together over several weeks. Your team is also going to need to finish all the campaign missions on insane difficulty. There is a brutal difficulty spike when you go to insane difficulty, and it was recently patched to make it harder. That's right, harder, because there was an exploit for the first month that allowed you to cheese this mode by having extra players in your party, but that loophole has since been closed. Number 3 is Back 4 Blood, which will likely take you another 100 hours as well. This game features a really long and grindy trophy requiring you to kill 53,000 enemies. This is borderline frustrating because you'll only be halfway there after your 2 required playthroughs. This doesn't make it hard, just a terrible trophy design. What is very hard is completing the game on Nightmare difficulty, and it's so difficult that there was a large contingent of players who were demanding a nerf, and in fact, very recently, they put out a balancing patch to address this, with more patches probably yet to come. Next, at number 2 is Kenna Bridge of Spirits. Where Returnal was patched to become easier to platinum, Kenna Bridge of Spirits patched the game to make it brutally more difficult to platinum. At launch, there was an exploit that allowed us to completely skip the master difficulty mode and pop the trophy, which is precisely what I did. After the patch, this colorful and cartoonish looking game became as difficult as Dark Souls, especially with the boss fights. Thankfully, Kenna is a wonderful game, despite a really tough difficulty mode, which unfortunately isn't unlocked until after you beat the game once. The trophy list is really fun and well-rounded. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, attempt to get the Diablo II Resurrected Platinum, the most challenging platinum of the year. You'll ultimately need to complete at least 21 playthroughs, which will include completing all held difficulties with each of the 7 classes. Complete all of that, and you'll then be greeted with one of the most brutal trophies out there, and that trophy is called I'm Gonna Do What's Called a Pro Gamer Move. This trophy requires you to reach level 99 with a hardcore character. This will take months to complete, and if you die, you'll have to restart from the very beginning. Well, that's it for the best of the hard platinums from the past year. Let me know down in the comments how many of these games you got the platinum on, and which games are the most challenging for you.